Just waiting for my live to come up. Not sure whether I'm on yet. I'll just wait a couple more seconds. Let's hope my video works today. Oh, I hope so. It says it's live. And it looks like I'm on over here. Hi guys. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Tamala Ridge here. For those of you who don't know me, I probably haven't done a proper introduction. I'm just presuming that people know me because you're on my page. My name is Tamala Ridge. I am an addictions specialist. I'm a soul connection mentor. And I'm actually, as of a couple of months ago, a best-selling author, which is super exciting. There's a book that has come out over the last couple of months called Trailblazers. And I might actually pop the link for that in the comments below as well, because Trailblazers is an incredible book. 28 female leaders from across the country, from across the world, all sharing their stories of their own trauma, their own adversity, their own childhood, and how they've now turned that into their medicine, into the work that they do and how they support other women. So that's actually got to #1 on Amazon. So woohoo, best-selling author, very exciting. So I'm just going to check that I actually am live on my phone. Let's just check Facebook quickly. Tell me that Tamala Ridge is now live and that you can see me, because last night, yay. Last night my video didn't work, so I'm on today for those of you who have joined me. Hi Emma, you can see me today. Woohoo! we worked out the glitch from last night. Hilarious. So today, my loves, what I'm going to do is, because I couldn't share my screen last night, I'm just going to quickly share it now and run through very, very briefly the Spiral of Ascension. So hopefully, can you see that, Em? Can you let me know if you can see that slide? Because that's what we couldn't see last night. And so today is day 3 of the 6 Facebook Live series. And the first Facebook Live, we talked about addiction and the nature of addiction and how the upper limit is more addictive than cocaine. And then last night we spoke about the Spiral of Ascension and how, unless we are using these tools for ourselves and with your clients, our clients are likely to get stuck in the upper limit because we are entirely addicted to it. And this whole Facebook Live series is for you personally, to support you to bust through your own upper limits and understand why you have them, but also to give you some tools and some strategies and some change in your thinking and beliefs to up-level the way that you service your clients. And once you understand this process, the Spiral of Ascension, using mindfulness, spiritual companioning, fear transformation tools, you're going to be able to take your clients much further to enable them to have much greater and deeper transformations. And they are going to want to come back and spend more time with you. So, you know, the planet is in crisis. Our mental health is in crisis, and we need to be awakening at a much more accelerated pace. And it's my understanding, it's my belief, and it's my deep desire to spread the word about the Spiral of Ascension so that you can take your clients further and you can ascend faster, quicker, to increase your income, your impact, and your influence, providing the medicine, the special medicine that you have to offer the world. So getting back to the Spiral of Ascension, I won't go over it tonight because you can go back and listen to the audio from last night, but here's the picture. So we start off with fear rising and the upper limit, the sabotage, the addiction, whatever that might be. But unless we're mindful and observant and aware of when the upper limit is present, there's nothing that we can do. So mindfulness is what we're going to talk about today, and it is the first point in the Spiral of Ascension. Once we're aware, then we need to go into the process of spiritual companioning. The spiritual companioning is asking the right questions. It's having compassion. It's having a deep yearning to be curious without judgment around what is going on. Because what we mostly do is, when we're having an upper limit, when we're drinking the wine, when we're procrastinating, when we're social media scrolling and we have the come down and we feel blur, what we usually do then is beat ourselves up. Yeah. We go, I'm a bad person. Why can't I get over this? Oh my gosh, I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm so disappointed in myself. I should know better than this. But the opposite to that is spiritual companioning, because once we beat ourselves up, we stay in the upper limit. But when we bring in spiritual companioning, the questioning, the non-judgmental, the acceptance, the curiosity, the compassion, then we can move into bringing in the tools that we use to transform our fear. And last night we spoke about EFT and tapping as a fear transformation tool. And I'm going to talk about that next week on Tuesday, because we're going to go into that on a much deeper level about how EFT is the most transformational tool that I have come across in my 15 years of counseling experience to transform and rewire our subconscious. And once we've done that, then we get into a space of heaven, lightness. I've just resolved an issue that's been sticking around for years and years and years, and I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really connected. I'm full of oxytocin. Things are going really well. And then bang, guess what? I'm going to hit another upper limit. But the process of the spiral of ascension is that what we're going to do when we hit an upper limit, it's not the same. If you've used these tools and you've transmuted your fear, your upper limit, yes, we're still going to hit them. They're not going to go away, but you're going to be here. You've moved around the spiral of ascension. You're no longer in this flat plane and you're blocked and you come back and back and back. You've gone around the spiral of ascension. Now you're higher, and the new ceiling is at a higher place. So there ain't nothing wrong with upper limits. Believe me, upper limits are something to celebrate, something exciting, something worthy to show us where the gateway for the next amount of work needs to be done. So if we follow this process, if you take your clients on this process, you're going to increase, you're going to ascend, you're going to continue on the spiral of ascension. And, believe me, the world around you is going to change because your internal environment is changing. Yeah. So please go back and listen to last night's Facebook Live. I go into the spiral of ascension at a much greater depth. That was just a recap today because I didn't have a video on last night. I'm just going to check if there's any questions. Hello, beautiful Nari. Hey, Karen. Hey, gorgeous. Hey, Katie. Hey, beautiful women. So today I'm going to go much more deeply into mindfulness. I might just stop sharing the screen so I can come back on. Hi. So mindfulness. So why is mindfulness so important? And for me, mindfulness is the medicine for everything, absolutely everything that I do personally and that I take my clients through is through a mindfulness process. Now, I know that all of you watching know what mindfulness is, yeah? It's about being aware. It's about being present in the present moment. It's about knowing what's happening right here and right now. It's about noticing your breath. It's about when you're doing the dishes, yeah? This is mindful awareness. But what I want to do today is take you deeper. I want to take you deeper into the process of mindfulness and what it truly is and why it's so sacred, why it's so transformational, how come it's the medicine for everything, yeah? So let's firstly do, what's the definition of mindfulness? There's many definitions out there. You can Google mindfulness and you'll find a plethora of information. But very, very basically, my favorite definition is paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Yeah, and non-judgmentally is a very, very big part of mindfulness because we can still be mindful and doing the dishes and being really grumpy with the fact that I'm doing the dishes. I'm judging the fact that I'm doing the dishes and I wish that I was somewhere else. Or I'm thinking the water's a bit too hot. or the feeling of the soap on my skin is a bit squidgy and I don't like it. And I wish that, you know, this would hurry up and just be over with. I'm still doing the dishes, I'm still being mindful, but I'm bringing in a sense of judgment. So that sense of judgment takes away, and it decreases the potency of the mindful activity. So acceptance. Acceptance is one of the most profound and transformative virtues that you can possibly ever come across. And so what acceptance brings into mindfulness is an end to suffering. And what we all want is an end to suffering. Yeah. So I can be mindfully in hell. I can be mindfully judging the situation that I'm in. And yes, I'm in the present moment, but I'm judging it. And to me, that's a space of hell. That's bringing fear into the present moment. But what we want to do is live in heaven. Yes. What we want to do is live in a space of acceptance, of surrender, of just being with what is. Even if that thing is uncomfortable, even if that thing is painful, even if that thing is boring, apparently. And even these painful, uncomfortable, boring things are still judgments, they're still beliefs, they're still a perception. So bringing in acceptance to all of your mindful activities will reduce, dissipate, end suffering. And this is the process that we want to be teaching ourselves and our clients through the process of mindfulness. So where is the present moment? You know, and do we really have the depth of understanding of what this is? So the present moment obviously is right here, right now. But what does that mean? What it means is a separation from our thinking. Because our thinking either usually takes us into the future or into the past. I'm planning, I'm worrying, I'm preempting, I'm making up stories about something that's going to happen in the future. And usually they're worrisome thoughts. Usually I'm planning, preparing to avoid the potential dinosaur. That's what we do, yeah? So when I'm in the future, in my thinking, I'm not in the present moment. I'm in a fearful state. I'm in hell. I'm not living, I'm not alive, I'm not here right now. I'm producing adrenaline and cortisol with every single worrisome thought that I have about the future, and I'm not present. Or I can be in the past, obsessing, thinking, daydreaming, thinking about all the things that happened yesterday, last month, last year, 25 years ago. And when I'm in that space, usually those thoughts are also rather negative. I'm worried, I'm wishing things were different, I'm going into an old story that potentially is actually quite addictive, because the adrenaline and cortisol that gets produced by these old traumas, these old stories that I'm stuck in, is actually feeding my addiction, and my addiction to stress and adrenaline and cortisol, which I spoke about in the first Facebook Live. So please go back and watch that one, because that was really informative. So I'm just going to keep checking any questions here. Oh my gosh, Joe's watching. That's my stepdad. Hi, Joe. Hi, gorgeous. Hi, Annie. So yeah, hit me up with any questions if you like in the chat box, because I'm really happy to answer them as we go. So I'm either in the future or I'm in the past with my thinking. You know, 99.9% of the time, that's where we are. We're not present. So being present actually takes a hell of a lot of practice, because we energetically have to pull ourselves back, because it's so addictive to be in the future. It's so addictive to be in the past, because those thoughts are producing adrenaline and cortisol with every single thought, slowly drip feeding adrenaline and cortisol in through our body. And it's highly addictive. It's as addictive as cocaine, crack, heroin, smoking nicotine. In fact, it's more addictive, because we spend more time doing it than we do any of those other substances. So in order to become present, we have to overcome this addiction. And the best way to overcome this addiction is to practice daily mindful meditation. So quite often people think that they can't do meditation because I just can't stop my thinking. I can't sit still for too long. I can't do mindful meditation. I'm no good at it. I can't quieten my mind. My mind is too busy. I just can't do it. And these are the most common things that I hear from people. And what I say to them is that you don't have to. You don't have to quieten your mind. You don't have to stop your thinking. And in fact, it's kind of impossible, especially when you're first starting out. The idea of mindful meditation is a movement. And it's a movement just like going to the gym and lifting a weight. In mindful meditation, every time we have a thought about the future or the past, we notice and we go, there's my worry about the future. And I celebrate the awareness and I come back to the breath. So I pull my attention very gently without judgment back to the breath. And then I might have another thought. Did I leave the oven on? There's my thought about the past. And I celebrate the observer, which I'll get to in a minute. And I accept that thought. It's neither good nor bad. And I come back to the breath. So mindful meditation is this. I'm out, I'm in. I'm in the future, I come back. I go to the past, I come back. I go out to the side, I come back. I go to the future, I come back. I go back to the past, I come back. Mindful meditation is not about stopping these thoughts, but it's about finding the spaces between, the micro spaces between. Every time you bring yourself back to your breath as an anchor or bring yourself back to the present moment, you are increasing your mindful awareness muscle. And the more you do it, the greater the spaces between, and then the longer the spaces between. These tiny micro moments during your mindful meditation are connecting you to heaven, are connecting you to the now. And if you add it up during your first mindful meditation that you sat there for 10 minutes and you actually only spent 15 seconds in mindful awareness, oh my freaking God, that is amazing. That is to be celebrated, and that will grow. And that is a fabulous place to start. And even myself, someone who is a very seasoned mindful meditator, I might sit down on a particular day and my mind is really freaking busy. And yes, in 10 minutes, I might only spend 15 seconds in mindfulness because I might be particularly stressed about something. There might be something going on. And that to me is not a failure. It's not thinking, oh my God, I should be better at this by now. That to me says, what do I need? That to me alerts me to the fact that it's really difficult for me today to be present and there's something missing. Some nurturing, some connection, some slowing down. There's obviously a high amount of stress running through my body. So I know then now that I can take myself through some different tools and some different strategies so that my next sit might be a lot easier. Yeah, so I'm just checking if there's any questions. Hello, beautiful Raquel. So glad you're joining us. So the idea of talking through mindfulness is purely for yourselves, but also as something that you can support your clients with. Because until your clients are more mindful of the potential upper limits, of the potential stress, of all of the times that they spend in the future or the past and bringing them back to the present moment, then the work that you have to offer them, the medicine that you have to offer them will be less potent. Everyone has a beautiful amount of medicine. Everyone has something to offer the world. But if you want to increase the potency of your medicine, bringing mindfulness into your practice with your clients will accelerate the effect that your medicine has on them. When we're doing, even if, when I'm using EFT or I'm taking people through a detox process, unless they're in the present moment, the potency of what we're doing won't have as great an effect. It's harder work. It's like we're sludging through the mud, through the thoughts, through the future, through the past. It's harder work to do the transformation when we're not present, when you're not in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you are purely and utterly connected to divine source. Your intuition is turned on. The veil between the worlds has disappeared. And now we can do some really incredible work. Now we can delve into the subconscious. Now we are aware of what it is that we need to do and to let go of. Now we can make informed decisions about what we're going to choose to keep and what we're going to choose to clean out. Mindfulness is the key to everything. It will up level your service to such a great capacity that clients are going to be going, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And when they go away and you give them the tools between your sessions to be more mindful about what comes up for them, their own process is going to accelerate to a much more potent degree, and they're going to come back and they're going to want more from you. Yeah. So hit me up with any questions, guys. Okay, so the other really potent aspects to mindfulness, we mentioned before acceptance, but I also want to invite you into noticing and doing some work on your own judgment. Because in order to connect to others, in order to connect more intimately with your own clients, we need to start getting really damn honest with our own judgment. Now, for most of you, and myself included, I might think, I've done so much work. I am not a judgmental person. I'm so accepting, like I'm this free, loving, amazing coach and healer, and I accept all. And I'm going to challenge you on that. It's not true. Every single moment of the day, we are usually still judging. And for those of you who I know who have done a lot of work around this already, which is great, we want to get down to the micro judgments, those little tiny niggly inner critics of ourselves and of our clients. We want to start to work on them and transform them. And the way that we do that is really to sit down and do a whole process on, what are your prejudices? What are your strong moral beliefs? What are your deep feelings of things that are definitely right and definitely wrong? Because they're all still stories, my loves. They're all still beliefs around moral values and judgments. And where I'm going here is quite deep. And what I want to reiterate here is that this doesn't mean that we have to become complacent in our society and accept difficult, harmful, abusive behavior towards us, towards our clients. What it means is that we accept it without judgment. We accept that our neighbour, potentially, and I have one of those neighbours, believe it or not, who likes to put his chainsaw on, particularly when I'm doing Facebook Lives. And it doesn't mean that I don't necessarily, I can't go over there and have a little chat with him and ask him to be mindful of when I might be having a session, but I accept who he is. I accept that his pain and his personality causes him to do acts towards other people that are probably coming from a vengeful manner. So I accept that without judgment. I don't judge him. I come from a space of curiosity. Everybody has a story. Everybody has their own trauma. Everyone has been neglected, abused, put in unsafe situations to certain degrees, which is causing them to act in these really harmful and destructive ways. So I accept that about him. And I'm really curious. I wonder why. I wonder how come. I wonder what's happened in his life to cause him to be behaving this way, rather than, oh my gosh, he's such a bad person, this shouldn't be happening, I'm so angry, and I start to fill myself with all of these suffering emotions and these judgments. So how do we as coaches and practitioners become more curious, become less judgmental, become more supportive to the people that are sitting in front of us, to be able to help them to transform what it is that the traumas that have happened in their lives? And And I'm going to ask you to really come down to the micro judgments, the little tiny ones, and notice when you get triggered or activated with your clients in your sessions. And in the 6-month mentoring program that I'm running and launching at the end of January, I take my students through this really deep and cleansing process of starting to be more mindful of the micro judgments. Yeah, and we all have them, myself included, and I continue to work on them on a daily basis because I can't take my clients further than where I'm at. Once I start to work on my own judgments, my own inner critic and my critic of them, the micro critics, I can only take them to a certain level. So being more mindful of when these come up for me in a reflective supervision practice with my students, I can help them to become more mindful as well, which means they can take their clients to a much greater capacity of transformation. Yeah, just checking the questions, dig a little deeper. Yes, always. Hello, beautiful Maureen. Always dig deeper. We can always go deeper. It's an infinite capacity. And once you dig deeper within yourself, you'll be able to take your clients to a much deeper capacity as well. Okay, so I'm just checking the time as well because I don't want to go too far over. Okay, so let's just spend the last couple of minutes. I want to take you through like 2 or 3 minutes worth of a mindful process. And I also I would love to invite you to take your perception of mindfulness to a much greater depth. Because what I want to challenge you to start to think about is that when we're in mindful practice, here we are in this 3D body doing this, washing the dishes, feeling the sensation of the water on our skin, the bubbles, the temperature of the water. I am doing the dishes. I am breathing. As coaches and healers, I'm going to invite you to go much deeper into your mindfulness. And what I'm going to invite you to do, and we'll do in this practice for the next couple of minutes, is to connect in with the observer. The observer is actually who you truly are, which is beyond this 3D body. The observer is actually connecting in with pure conscious awareness. So in fact, you are not you are not in this, I mean, you are in this 3D body breathing, and that's what we usually notice when we're being mindful. But what I'm going to invite you to do is to take one step backwards and observe the breather. Because in truth, you are not the breather. You are far more than the breather. You are unlimited, pure, conscious awareness. And once you do this process for yourself, you will be able to support your clients to do this process as well. So enough intellectualizing. Let's just do a process so that you can understand what I'm talking about. So if you're in a safe space, feel free to close down your eyes. If you're driving, if you've got kids around, running around with knives and forks, maybe you need to keep your eyes open. But if you are in a safe space and you're watching the replay, I invite you to close down your eyes and just take a couple of big, deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth with a big sigh. And just a couple more of those. One more deep breath. And just connecting in with your body. Just connecting in with this present moment. Just bringing all of your attention into the now. Just leaving all of the conversation that we've previously had, leaving that all behind. Just noticing your thoughts about the past, bringing your attention into the now. Noticing your thoughts about the future, bringing your attention into the now. Just using all of your 5 senses as an anchor. Noticing the weight of your body on the chair in which you sit. Noticing the sensation of your clothes on your skin. Noticing the temperature of the air on your skin. Noticing anything that you can hear. Noticing the sound of my voice. Noticing any noises that you may hear in your own room. Noticing anything you might be able to smell. Noticing just how much light is still entering through your eyelids. Noticing whether your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth or whether it's lying gently down in your jaw. Noticing whether your teeth are touching or they're slightly ajar. Noticing anything you might be able to taste in your mouth. Just taking a really big, deep breath in through your nose, noticing the air rushing in through your nostrils and down the back of your throat and filling up your lungs. The rise of your chest as your air moves in. And as you breathe out, noticing the fall of your chest and the air rushing back up over your throat, out your nostrils, and you may even feel it moving over your top lip. And in this moment, I invite you to use the breath as an anchor. This is where we will return to many times in the next few moments. And as you bring your attention to your breathing, I invite you to notice any thoughts that might pop into your mind. There's worry. There's questioning. Am I doing this right? What time is it? When will this be over? I'm bored. Hurry up and finish. I'm not thinking at all. I feel peaceful. Any thoughts at all, I invite you to simply notice and notice them as separate from you. Start to bring in that sense of observing. You are observing your thoughts. You are no longer your thoughts. You are observing them. I invite you to bring in your virtue of acceptance. There's my thought about whether I'm doing this correctly, and I totally accept that thought. And here I am observing the thought. I invite you to celebrate the observer. How exciting! I'm noticing. I'm observing. I am no longer my thought. Return to the breath. And you may have another thought in a split second. I wonder what time it is. There's a thought. Accept the thought. Celebrate the fact that you observed that thought. Turn to the breath. I invite you to connect in with the observer, observing your breath. And now I invite you to observe the breather. You are not the breather. You are far from it. You are far more infinite, expansive, connected to universal consciousness. Sitting in this space, observing your human experience. Another thought. Celebrate, accept, return to the breath, return to the observer. Notice the space between. Be in the space between your thoughts, the space between the breather, the observer of the breather. When you find yourself drifting off, simply pull yourself back. So in the next 30 seconds, you might have 200 thoughts. That is perfectly fine. But I invite you to just sit in silence just for 30 seconds and undergo this process on your own without the sound of my voice to interrupt you. Thought, notice, accept, celebrate, back to the breath, back to the observer. In 30 seconds, I'll ring the bell. Just taking a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth with a big sigh. When you're ready, slowly bringing some movement to your fingers and toes. When you open your eyes, I invite you to bring this mindful presence with you. Bring it back into the next activity. Bring it back into your consciousness. Bring this presence, this observation, this conscious awareness back with you. So slowly blinking open your eyes. So for those of you who are still with me, perhaps just pop a comment in the chat box below and just tell me how that experience was. Did you manage to connect into the observer? Did you manage to go to that higher dimension rather than I am my thoughts, or I am doing the dishes, I am breathing? Did you manage to connect into the observation of the breather? Because this is the depth to where mindfulness can take us, and this is the depth to where you can take your clients to experience more heaven. And once you enter into this space, then we bring in the fear transformation tools, then we bring in detoxing, then we bring in tapping, then we bring in your medicine, whatever it is that you do to your best and greatest capacity in a mindful space. This is where deep transformation can occur. Yeah. So just a final little activity that you can do, and you can also support your clients to do. The next time you notice a thought saying, I want or I need a drink, I need a rest, I need to yell at children, I need to do this, I need to do that. You are in the future. I need to do something. So start to notice your languaging. And when you notice the statement, I need, I'm going to invite you to reframe that to I am. So I need a drink reframes to I am stressed. And when you notice I am stressed, perhaps I need a drink is not the best, most nourishing outcome for how you're feeling right now. I am stressed. What else could I do to nurture and calm and relax this stressed being? I could have a bath. I could go outside and put my bare feet on the ground. I could go and hug my children. And when you notice your client saying, I need, I should, ask them, how are you feeling? How do you feel right now? Bring them back into the present moment. It's a really beautiful question to support your clients to be in the present moment. How do you feel right now? Because they'll be off in their stories. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because that was a lot of information. Karen says yes to non-judgmental. Yes, 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 yes. No judgments. I mean, it's impossible, yeah? We judge every day. We judge ourselves and everyone's, but the more we can become mindful of our judgments, the more we can be scraping the bottom of the barrel, getting to a more conscious, higher vibration. Okay, so I invite you to join me next week. Next week we are going to go into EFT and tapping and the profound tool that that tapping is. We're going to go into more about spiritual companioning and how that helps to support you. And we're also going to go into the client as the mirror. How you can't take anyone past where you're at, how working on yourself is the best and most potent way to support your clients. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed this Facebook series this week. I hope that you will join me next week. I'm also going to remind you too that I do have the Soul Connection Mentoring Program beginning the end of January. We're going to go much deeper into all of these tools. I'm going to teach you how to teach mindfulness to your clients. During the process of the mentorship program, you all come up with your own recorded mindful meditation that you can give to your clients as an opt-in, as a freebie, to support them to take this transformation even deeper. The Soul Connection Mentoring Program is personal development, professional development, and spiritual development. I'm going to teach you everything that I know. I'm going to teach you everything that I know to take your business to the next level, to take your clients to the next level, to support you to continue on the spiral of ascension, to overcome your addiction to stress and overwhelm, to support your clients to keep coming back for more. It's the most brilliant and phenomenal life-changing mentorship program that I know of. There's nothing else like it. If you would like some more information, I'm going to leave a link to the to book in for a free 30-minute clarity call with me. Absolutely no obligation, but I'd love to tell you more about the program to see whether this is a good fit for you. So please reach out if you'd like to connect, and I hope to see you all next week. Just checking if there's any questions. Don't know that I can't see that. If you're watching the replay, please be sure to leave any questions below and I'll come back to answer them. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful day.